How's it going? Trey Clark here, as I usually am, and I'm going to jump right into this, as I usually do. Trust me, I know that this is kind of goofy looking, but it helps me edit because I can use a microphone to go wirelessly directly into the phone. And my pay per hour is not all that much. Matter of fact, I think last time I checked, it's still $0. But I want to talk about some things that maybe you hear all the time, maybe you don't. These are things that you kind of have to search for. But if there's any time to educate yourself, or ever been a time to educate yourself on something, it's what's causing this collapse, this government mandated collapse of basically our entire world, financial system and everything, and trying to keep it that way, make it worse. We will look like a third world country with just nice structures laying around. We'll look like San Francisco in the worst parts. So, because no one's going to have any money. And then once they bring us to our knees, how are they going to pay for all this stuff anyway? Even on the government teat. But these are some things that have been problematic to me as I've been looking into this and listening to people that know what they're talking about. And in other words, doctors, follow their podcasts and stuff. And nothing seems right about this. And if government officials can have their opinions about what should be done, and they're the ones that are pulling all the strings and patent big pharma and all that, we surely can too. They're not smarter than us, that's for sure. Pelosi just made one of the stupidest moves I've ever seen anyone make with her ice cream video. So one thing is, if you didn't know this, here in the U.S., if you're on Medicare, the government gives the hospital $13,000 to diagnose you if you are diagnosed with COVID-19. Whether that's making you sick, it doesn't matter. If you do the test, which we know, there's two problems to this. One is we know the tests haven't worked. They've sent them back and all that stuff. So $13,000 goes to the caregiver of the patient. That's a lot. Now, if they have to get put on a ventilator, $39,000 if they are tested positive with the coronavirus. And you only get $4,000 if you just go in, walking in with a regular cold and a fever. So that is problematic. That, along with the tests, are not reliable. I mean, if you don't see a problem with this, you're going to be playing in the traffic by yourself, because it's a very glaringly obvious reason for people to misbehave and for bad actors to step in and capitalize on things with free money. And doctors are being instructed, and this is from a lot of different interviews with doctors, nurses, that if they can just have symptoms of coronavirus. They're doing this in Italy quite a bit. They can just have the symptoms of the coronavirus and then they die. And they write coronavirus on there. So they all have their own, sliding scale of getting paid. But everyone gets paid if you get a coronavirus patient. I'm not a doctor, but I know how to do math, and I know that there are fucking thieves in every industry. I don't care. You put a mega church together, you're going to find psychopaths, thieves, good people, But if there's a way to steal money, someone's going to do it. Whether you run a restaurant, whether you run an oil company, whatever, you get enough people together, which is no shortage of that in the health industry, you're going to find bad actors. Well, what you want to do is remove incentives for that, or at least checks and balances. It looks like you have every incentive in the world to not do your due diligence. You don't have the test to prove it. Symptoms, a cough, and then I get hit by a car, and then there's a coronavirus cause of death on there. And I don't know that anything that serious has happened, but under their rules, it absolutely could. If they test positive for the coronavirus, they have to put the coronavirus as cause of death. And that's just not how it's done. So, and then they're using the PSYOP stuff on us to make us feel like we're only safe if we wear masks. And I've talked about this a lot. The size of a virus is like a nanometer. And if you look around, just look at what people are wearing on their faces. Okay? These things are tiny, if they're even particles at all. But I've not run the centrifuge test or anything like that to test for them. So, and nor will I ever. But we do know these masks are not either being professionally fitted, and if they're not a 3M mask, it's just a class of mask that even these, the ones they use on respirator, they can only get a large percentage of very small particles out of the air. So we know that the masks is just a psyop. People walking around with bandanas over their face is just stupid. All you're doing is getting if the viruses are floating around, just getting the bandana dirty, taking it home. And the fact, it still blows me away that they don't address the fact that you can, if they say don't touch your face, they're saying you don't want to get it on your hand and get it in your eye. If it's floating around the air that you can breathe into, certainly your eye, which is a wet, open wound, basically, it's going to collect particles, but they don't address that. Why? Because it's all just for psychological warfare. They're trying to keep our stress level up, which, believe it or not, that does bring your immune system down. So there's all these people dying with padded causes of death, and people are getting rich off of it from your money. If that doesn't bother you, then I think you might be my enemy. Cheers, guys. Hope y'all are well. I'll talk to y'all later.